Hi everyone, and welcome to the Mashery webinar series. I'm Andy Raskin, Director of Product Marketing at Mashery. Today I'm excited to welcome Chris Pardo from Dun & Bradstreet. Chris is a product manager in charge of strategic alliances and the D&B Direct API. And he's going to speak about how he and his team, working with Mashery, have made that API one of D&B's fastest growing revenue channels. If you have questions during the talk, just type them into the questions box in your GoToWebinar panel. We'll do our best to answer them as they come up, and we'll also have a Q&A period at the end. All right, Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Andy. As Andy mentioned, I am product manager for strategic alliances as well as the API. The reason why that is because the API is essential for any type of partnership that D&B tries to pursue. So, and I'll go a little bit into that in the presentation. So I kind of want to talk about the evolution of the API at D&B. So a lot of companies out there, they have a secret recipe or a secret sauce, and to give it away would be kind of insane. I mean, if it's your competitive advantage, you kind of want to keep it in-house and don't give it away. But for us, we feel that it enables our customers to do a lot of cool things. So our secret recipe it comprises of two things. So the DUNS number, and you can think of the DUNS number as a social security number, and essentially it's a unique identifier that helps with any type of environment that you're trying to integrate in, whether that be MDM, CRM, or ERP. Another part of our secret recipe is our family tree. So you can think of the family tree as your own family tree for a company. So if you look at GE's family tree, it's pretty extensive. They have NBC, the History Channel, A&E, Bravo, Telemundo. So a lot of our customers use this to penetrate the account further. So who uses D&B data? So you could be a big data nerd, or you could be concerned about creating the different types of links. There's a lot of information out there, and having the DUNS number and having corporate linkage is very important when creating those links. So we've been pretty successful. We've had about 500 internal and external applications launched on our API. We've had about 5,000 developers. As I said, it enables some of our strategic alliances, and it's one of our highest revenue growth products in our portfolio. So why did D&B need an API product? So just to set some context, D&B has been around for a long time. About 170 years. 4 U.S. presidents have actually worked here as well, so that kind of shows you how old we are. In the recent years, we wanted to change the way that we deliver the data. So going back to 170 years ago, we delivered our data through the printing press, through books, until recently flat files, and now the API. So APIs allow flexibility to serve new content in a lot of delivery channels. So our company comprises of a lot of data sets. So D&B has 200 million global companies with firmographic and risk information. So essentially they give us the breadth of information. The rest of the companies here, Hoover's First Research and All Business. Hoover's gives you in-depth profiles on companies, people, and industries. First Research gives you really good coverage on industries. And All Business is great for small businesses. So we've had all these different data sets. So as you can see, if we were trying to make an API for each of these data sets, and in our case, that's what happened, we had a lot of different APIs. So this is very confusing for our customers. You have different data formats, different authentication, different documentation, different products, different data elements, and different interfaces. Not very frictionless for a developer who's trying to create an application. So our goal was to unify all these data sets into one interface, and that's D&B Direct. So some of the things that we learned along the way is very important to have thorough documentation, working examples of code, using your own API for your own products, so eating your own dog food, having flexible packaging and pricing. So we want to satisfy the startup companies as well as the big enterprise companies. So it's very important to have flexible packaging and pricing. And the most important thing, I believe, is to have designing your API for the consumer and not for the internal developer. So to elaborate on that, typically this is 99% of the integration is you call one of our entry point methods and you resolve it down to a DUNS number, and then you pass the DUNS number to a get detail. So for instance, if you wanted to find information about a company, you would enter maybe the company name or the location, resolve it down to that unique identifier called the DUNS number, and then you pass it to the GET method to get any type of information that you need on that company. So in order to actually create an API, you have to build a business case. So our vision was to allow customers to integrate in any type of system that has customer information, industry information, or people information. So as you can see on this graph, CRM and decision systems can use our data, purchasing and supply, ERP and finance, custom systems, compliance systems, risk and audit, and mobile and intranets. So D&B Direct delivers on that vision. So we unify all of our data sets and expose it through one layer, one interface, and it allows for a lot of different types of things. So a lot of our Fortune 500 customers create their own custom applications to satisfy their needs. Over here, D&B 360, this is a product that we built on our API. So we use it internally. We eat our own dog food. So we also enable strategic alliances. So we have an alliance with Salesforce, and that data is being fed to them through our API. We also enable mobile applications, and we have a lot of other use cases that we're trying to work on too.
Chris, you mentioned that initially you used to share information through flat files or other kind of sort of custom handlers. Could you talk about why the switch to APIs?
Sure. So we typically deliver data to the customer on a flat file. So what they would do is they would export their data from either their CRM, ERP, or whatever, and then they would send it to us, and we would do our own cleansing and matching process, and we would append a DUNS number to each one of those records and add any type of additional information, and then we would give it back to the customer, and then it was up to them to actually import it back into their system. So unfortunately for the customer, business doesn't stop for them during that time. So they've had a lot of updates to their system. In addition to that, you have to actually reconcile all that information. So it's a big nightmare from an IT point of view. So having an API circumvents that flat file process to get these one-off updates. But it doesn't replace that business. I mean, if you want to initially cleanse your records, it's really good to send it to us. We can handle up to like 20 million or more, and then we give it back to them. So that's kind of why we're going towards the API.
Got it. Thanks.
So another good thing about the API is we can handle virtually any type of integration scenario. So we are language independent, whether it be PHP, Java, C++, .NET, we handle that. Any type of system that can consume a web service could use our API. And over here we have complex architectures. If it has access to the internet and can consume a web service, then it can actually use our API. So that's the flexibility that it provides. So some of the use cases that we found very helpful. This is a lead form. So any type of lead that comes in to a website, it's very helpful to actually get information on a customer before they actually come in. So let's say that a customer works at Nike, and you could actually find out more information about Nike, the industry, the size of the company, the revenue that it makes, and then route it appropriately. So that's really good from a marketing automation point of view. Another interesting part of this is you're getting correct information before it actually enters your system. So you don't have to do this batch process to clean all the records after it comes in. And the value of that is basically incorrect information could propagate through all of your systems if you don't correct it at the point of entry. So this actually solves that. The next use case is another entry point use case, so order management. So basically an order comes in, and basically we get corrected information as it comes in. So you could think of an order coming in, maybe the address is incorrect. So if you actually search our database real time before actually creating that order, then you could prevent shipping to the wrong address. So that could save a lot of money.
And this search is happening through the API, as you said, in real time, yeah?
Yep, that's correct. Another use case is basically our API will allow customers to design their own applications. So these are actual screenshots of customers that have built their own custom apps. So the top one right here, one of our Fortune 500 customers wanted to find out more information about their strategic accounts. So they actually rebuilt a widget that they basically integrated into their portal. And for each page in their portal, they had their strategic account, and they pulled vital information about their customers. And over here, one of our customers is in logistics, and they want to find out more information about a lot of people that deliver their packages. So they want to find more information on that. So they pulled information from our API about the financials to actually take a look at their risk. Another use case is supply management. So you could evaluate suppliers real time, take a look at the status and risk. You could do sourcing, supplier reporting and scorecards, and also optimization. So we built our own products using our API. So a few of the products that we developed is D&B 260. So D&B 260 is a really awesome product. It's basically CRM integrations to the top 5 platforms. So Salesforce, Dynamics, Oracle, Siebel, and SAP. And we've also built mobile products too using our API.
So are these situations where you're actually exposing the API to your own developers?
That's correct. Yep. So the next thing for D&B Direct is to create visualization using our data. In addition to that, we're looking at maybe providing analytics through a service. So that's what we're looking at next. So a few things when selling our API is it requires a lot more parties involved. So, typically in a sales process, you really have to influence the influencer. So you need a technical person to talk to the customer's technical person, and then talk to them about the value from an IT point of view, while the sales manager will talk to the other business owner and basically explain the value of integrating data real time. So it's a solution sell. So we use Mastery, and we love them. They do a lot of things that we find very, very useful. And our success really relies on them. I mean, they make us more successful by providing a lot of features and services. So they have best-in-class API key provisioning, access policy management. So this is really good because for each API key, we could track a customer's usage and find out whether or not they're not utilizing the API. If so, we could pick up the phone and call them, try to find out why they're not doing it, or if they're overutilizing it. So if they're making too many API calls, we could have a conversation with them, maybe a midterm or during the upgrade, and say, hey, you're calling your API quite a bit. Maybe it's time for you to pay more. We also use the strategic services from Mastery. So they take a look at our API, find out some of the improvements that they can make, from a technical point of view as well as from a marketing point of view. Developer outreach services. So this is the hackathons, also a lot of the conferences that they have, very helpful for us. And the thing that we like is the API partner portal as well as the Mastery IO docs. So the example of the developer outreach program, so Business of APIs, we went to this last year, and Ryan Patrick actually spoke on it at one of the panels. Really good in terms of finding out what everybody else is doing, just great in thought leadership for APIs in general. And it's really good to find out, or just to get your name out there. So the strategy services that we use, they've worked with us on a really nice video. We're in the process of making some tweaks, but hopefully we get to release it. It's an awesome video, and hopefully it's something that we can use in the future.
What is the video for? I mean, what are you hoping to get out of it?
So right now it's really good from an internal point of view. We could get our sales team up to speed, primarily because selling an API is kind of a foreign thing to a lot of our sales force, and it's kind of nebulous to them. So basically the video talks at a high level what you could do with the API, and it actually breaks it down to like 4 use cases. And these 4 use cases are actually features that you can find in a lot of our products. So searching for a company, finding contact information, finding competitors, and also lead forms. So it talks about those 4 use cases, and it shows you the exact API calls to make those use cases. So it's a very effective video for our sales staff, and hopefully it'll be effective for our customers in the future.
Great.
So IO Docs, basically a turnkey solution. You can have interactive documentation on our REST services, and this is very helpful too when you're demoing the product. So basically when I go to a customer, I show them this, the technical person, go through our entry point method. So let's say advanced person search, grab grab the DUNS number and then pass it to get company detail. And once I do that, the developer realizes how easy it is. So in closing, D&B Direct is a distribution channel for D&B's secret recipe, enabling our customers to do a lot of innovative things. And I ask you, is your secret recipe in your API? And if not, I encourage you to put it in there, because our adoption of our API is growing exponentially. And I think the reason for that is we expose our DUNS number and also our corporate linkage. So that's the API evolution at D&B. So I'd like to open it up for Q&A.
Thanks, Chris. We got a few during the talk. So one is, Chris, do you see the delivery of data services moving more to APIs in general? I mean, I think of the question makes me think of like a Bloomberg terminal, very fixed proprietary distribution channel for data services. Is that sort of the old way and APIs the new way? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think API is the new way. So if they need to get information in real time, like any type of order entry scenario or any point of entry scenario, it's great to actually ping our database using our API to find out that customer information before they actually promote it through their system. Very valuable. I don't see it replacing like our flat file business. I think it's complementary. I think you'll need both. So this hybrid approach is essential. So flat file and also API will definitely satisfy any type of use case for a customer.
Another question we got, you mentioned that packaging the API for different kinds of partners is very important. Could you talk about what kind of packaging you do?
So right now we have two packages. So we have one for the base services. So that's just the basic data points that we offer. And then we offer more premium services. So direct contact information like emails and phone numbers. The corporate linkage is a premium service. Also industry information too. So right now we do charge a little bit more for those services. What we hope to do in the future is to have maybe separate types of WSDLs or WADLs for, say, the enterprise developer that needs pretty much everything, down to the SMBs who probably need just a few of those functions, and then down to the actual startups who probably just want the basic information about a company. So that's what we're trying to do, and hopefully we'll get there.
Can you explain how you've integrated security and user auth into your API model?
Sure. We basically just use the API key as the thing that you pass in the actual request, and then we validate that on our side. So that's basically what we do, and we use you guys to do that. So.
You have a public version of the API and a private version of the API. Could you talk about how those are different and how someone gets access to the private versions?
Oh yeah. So you can basically sign up on our website for development access, and you get a development key which gives you access to dummy data. So we don't want to give away data to anybody. So basically we scramble the data, and what that does is it allows you to find out, the format of the request and the response. And if you need actual data, then you can have a conversation with us, and we can get you production data. So I guess that's what they mean by public and private interfaces.
So is this the idea that you have a sort of any self-service, anybody can get a key to play around and maybe build a proof of concept, something like that, but then if you actually want the real data, there's a more formal business relationship that has to happen first?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Got it. Okay. All right, Chris. Well, we're out of time for the questions. Thanks so much for a really great look into the D&B Direct API. If you'd like to contact Chris, his email address is cpardo@hoovers.com. If you'd like to contact Mashery, you can visit us at www.mashery.com, or you can email me at andy@mashery.com. As you may have heard, Mashery recently announced Mashery API Packager, a new module that lets business development and marketing folks package up APIs as products, very much the way Chris was talking about. It's just the way cable companies sell different access plans, and car companies sell different trim levels. We're seeing that same trend in API marketing, where API providers like D&B are packaging up for different types of API users. We're going to be having a webinar solely devoted to API Packager and some of the use cases. Again, Chris, thanks so much, and thanks everyone for joining us.